All right, good morning. Beautiful morning, nice and cool. It is 9 o'clock, the 27th day of August, 2024. I call this special meeting to order. We are in the Justice of the Peace courtroom in the Commissioner courtroom at the Aransas County Courthouse. Roll call.
Commissioner Cheney,
He's not gonna be here. He took his wife to the doctor.
Commissioner Casterline,
Here.
Commissioner Russo. Here. Commissioner Dubnik.
Here.
Judge Garza.
Here, we got board members, we have a quorum. At this time, we'll entertain citizens to be heard. Anybody sign up? All right, anybody online? And before we move on for the items, I am going to strike number 2. So item number 1, we are not here to change anything. You know, we had a grievance committee that met, and this is just a notification of the results of the salary grievance hearing for Constable Precinct 2. And y'all have a letter from me in the packet. And I'm just gonna read the letter out loud for the record. In keeping with the requirements of the Texas Local Government Code, Chapter 152, a public hearing was held to the Salary Grievance Committee on Friday, August 23rd, 2024, in response to the salary grievance that was timely filed by Gavin Harrison, Constable Precinct 2. As a Salary Grievance Committee Chairman, it was my pleasure to inform you that 7 of the 9 Salary Grievance Committee members voted to recommend an increase in salary for Gavin Harrison, Constable Precinct 2, from $42,682.43 to $53,565 for the 2024-2025 budget year. The committee also authorized me by unanimous vote to carry out my statutory duties of informing the Commissioners Court of the results of the public hearing. So please accept this letter as delivery of such formal notice. Per Texas Local Government Code 152.016C, only unanimous vote of the committee shall require the Commissioners Court to include the recommended increase in next year's budget. However, the adopted Aransas County Human Resources Handbook states, if after a hearing, the committee by a vote of 6 to 8 members decides to recommend a change in the salary or personal expenses of the person requesting, it will prepare recommendations in writing, which is this, and deliver to Commissioners Court. The Commissioner Court will include the increase in the budget for the budget before the budget is filed, and the increase will take effect in the next budget year. So long as any adopted policy does not increase the rights afforded to citizens, the Commissioners Court is well within its authorization to increase the rights afforded to the citizens as done here. I call upon the Commissioners Court to receive and implement the recommendation of the Salary Grievance Committee for Gavin Harrison for the 2024-2025 budget year.
Can we speak to that?
Yeah, if you have questions.
I'd like to question the authority of the committee to give Gavin more than he requested, and if necessary, ask for an AG opinion on that. I've read the statute a number of times, and I think it's a really big reach to assume that they had the authority to give him more than what.
So Gavin's original request was 51,000. The committee gave him more. And we could do that. Adela, is there a law that says that?
I mean, is there another code besides the one that's in here?
It is available in the TAC handbook covering salary grievances and covers that exact detail. But they may deviate on.
Well, yeah, but they have to interpret this code, and I mean, that's a stretch to think that they have the authority to go for more than what you requested.
If you, I could read the one from TAC right now. The question in the TAC handbook says, may the Salary Grievance Committee recommend a pay increase to an elected official greater than the one requested by the official? The answer is yes. Under section 152.016C local government code, if 6 or more members vote to recommend an increase in salary or personal expenses, the committee submits its recommendation to the Commissioners Court in writing. If 6 to 8 members of the committee vote to recommend an increase, the Commissioners Court shall consider the recommendation at its next meeting. If all 9 members of the committee vote to recommend the increase and sign the recommendation, the Commissioners Court shall include the increase in the budget before the budget is filed and the increase takes effect in the next budget year. The committee is not limited to the officer's request in making its determination. And that one has a Texas Attorney General opinion attached to it.
What was the rationale given for awarding more money?
The county attorney suggested it.
What was to match the starting pay of an entry deputy? So a member had mentioned something about, I think they should be paid, for the entry level deputy gets paid.
And it was me. It's straight out of the academy sheriff's deputy with no experience, no anything, and not any kind of responsibilities of a constable. Starts at the 53,000 mark, and to me, it just didn't make sense to not. Gavin had data that supported his request for 51,000. However, it was me, and I suggested that they do that to just have it
Yeah.
somewhere close.
And I think in the, if it's in there and they have an AG opinion, I mean, it's fine with me. But, he talked about a couple of different positions, and I kind of thought from the view of the 3 citizens that were on there, nobody ever said that an elected official doesn't have a time clock. In fact, if they don't want to come to work today, they don't have to. And, for those 3 people that probably don't have a clue that that's the case, I thought that was kind of deceptive to them. Y'all went into pretty extensive. I mean, I agree. I kind of felt like you and the sheriff were Gavin's witnesses in a trial.
Commissioner Castro, just for clarification, I sent every statute, I sent our handbook policy, and I sent that tag information to every single public member. And they had that Monday afternoon after our commissioners court when we drew names.
Right.
So they had plenty of time to read all the statutes. Now, it did not talk specifically about an elected official not having to be at work.
Right. And I'm just saying that's a different comparison when you compare a couple of jobs that have to be on the job and all that stuff, and you leave that part out that,
I don't know how we could have informed them of that during that meeting.
they could have just said it. They said plenty about the jobs that they were comparing. I mean, I would urge anybody to watch the video because it just seems like a lot of strange things went on. I mean, basically, the county attorney, to me, told the judge to be quiet. He couldn't make an opening statement. And it was like Adela became Gavin's attorney. And other people were saying different things, but she called him down, and she was a member of the committee, and he started giving an open statement. She said it was only question and answer.
Well, it was a question. I was just giving some context to the question.
The county
You said
judge
Adela.
did give an
Did you
opening
mean
statement.
Adela or did you mean Amanda?
But he
To be clear,
stopped because,
you read a letter to open,
Right,
correct?
it wasn't an opening statement. It was during the Q&A where I was gonna ask a question, but I was giving some background context and then Amanda stopped.
I just think it was a
Right,
real
but-
strange deal to watch. I just.
Commissioner Castellan, I want to interject something here. No, I don't have a time clock. But even when I did, when I left the employment of the sheriff's office, I returned over 900 hours of sick time to the county.
I don't argue that you did that. I just felt like that should have been divulged clearly to the 3 citizens that were on the committee. And I thought it was odd, you think of a trial and a jury. I thought it was odd that you got to stay in the room when they were deliberating and basically enter into a debate with them after the fact that you presented your argument. I expected you to leave the room, them to deliberate, and if they needed to come back, but that didn't happen, and I would, I was curious if there were some other rules for them to abide by, because I just thought it was strange the way that it operated.
Well, I think it's the first one Aransas County has had in a while.
Since 2019.
Okay.
Well, I would like to request on our next regular meeting that we bring up the handbook to take that one particular item out of the handbook.
Well, to please bring it up to what the code says instead of amending it.
Bring it down to what the code is.
What the statute says.
Because the statute says that if it's 6 to 8 votes, it comes to the commissioner's court.
For
And
decision.
the handbook eliminated that choice and said that, you only needed 6
I
votes.
would note that Commissioner Casterline and Commissioner Cheney voted for updates to the handbook in 2018 and 2022, when Commissioner Russo was acting in 2018.
Well, it's a live and learn deal. Now we know that we gave the people that handed us that book too much confidence to what they had in there, and we should have looked a little harder. I mean, I've never been through one of these, but after seeing the deal, I think that should be taken out of the handbook or
Right.
brought
And
back to the code.
Said that since at least 2012 or 2013.
That's what I found.
And yes, maybe I should have checked every single policy that's in there against the legislative code. And that might be a recommendation going forward. But it was continuing as it had been set up. I don't know when it was changed. I don't have an earlier version of the handbook than 2013.
I
But
found one for 2012.
Yeah. Well, like I say, it's a live and learn deal. Maybe when other people don't want to change it, but I feel like it ought to be brought to what the code is.
so too.
I'd like to speak just a little bit on, you were talking about how the meeting was run. The statutes say almost nothing about how those meetings are to be run.
Yeah.
I spent probably 40 hours in a week studying how to handle this because there were no
Yeah.
instructions. There's no clear path in the statutes. The TAC information was probably the clearest of what we could or couldn't do. And we did our utmost for Gavin and for this county to handle it in the most right and legal manner to protect all parties involved.
Well, I understand from the code that on the second Monday in January, you can set it where it's all
That's
citizens.
correct.
The other thing that I thought was wrong is your jury is made up of people that probably all thought they should get a raise too. Except for the citizens people, it was all elected people that, I bet if you ask every one of them, they think that they should make more money than what they get. So, is that an impartial decision? So, but I think second Monday in 2025,
We've already
We
started
should
that
do that.
process.
All right, so this item, yes, ma'am.
I want to make everything clear. What Adela said a while ago, what you read, did that say, what I heard you say was the commissioners can still vote on the difference of what he asked and what they gave him?
no,
I thought that's what you said.
Our policy handbook says differently.
Because we have a more generous policy, we have to abide by that.
And then
Yeah.
what I also want to make clear in the letter that you read, a couple of times you said the 24-25 budget. I just want to make it clear that this is not effective until January.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Thank you, I was gonna ask that question myself.
Budget year.
No,
Is
it's
it out of-
until 25.
Is it out of order or is it improper to ask the question? We do have 2 constables in the county. And,
I'm gonna have a meeting next week,
okay,
so we're gonna tidy up this budget and we'll bring that issue up.
okay, thank you.
Can I add one thing
Yes, sir.
on punching the time clock? No, we don't. But we are 24 hours, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
My judge at the drop of a hat can have a writ of connection or writ of reentry Friday night at 10 o'clock or midnight, and we gotta come in and serve it.
Yeah.
I've been down here at the courthouse late at night on Fridays, Saturdays and Sundays on stuff like that.
Mhm.
So it's not fair to say that we punch a time clock. We do a lot.
Well, but you're not the same as two deputies that have a time. It's not, that's my,
They have more time off than we do.
that's my point. It's not the,
They have set
it's not
times.
the same. Yeah, you have to be here early, but if you don't want to come to work this week, you don't have. I'm not so sure that the JP can order you to come in even.
The state does. There's things that we cannot not do. We have certain days,
Right.
certain time limits on certain stuff, and it has to be done. So it's not like I can just say, all right, this week I'm not gonna come in here and do anything. Now, if we had deputies do that for us, that's one thing. But if not, we have to do it.
All right, thank you, Doc.
Commissioner Deedy.
So just so that commissioners know, if you are looking at thinking about changing the other constables, we do have to republish the, and because of timelines now, it would be after we've adopted the budget if you wait till next week.
That gets a lot harder.
It doesn't
Yeah, we have
follow
to
our
have
statute.
the statutes we have to publish before we adopt the budget.
Okay.
So that's just something we need to look at.
I would also like to say something, what I've heard from constituents, and I have to admit that I think that's a valid comment, is that when you run for office, you know what the salary for that office is, and you accept that. And you actually sometimes have to put out a little bit of money to even get elected to that office. But then to come into that office and demand more money seems not good practice. And now that the salary has been increased by a very generous salary grievance committee hearing, perhaps there will be other people who might be attracted to the constable positions. But I also feel when you presented those positions and the averages, you chose certain counties and left out certain counties. And we're not sure if the counties that you selected were ones that have similar numbers of people, similar budgets to ours. And I noticed you didn't put the commissioner salaries in there. Because if you compared the commissioners' pay for Aransas County versus probably any other counties that you pick, we're gonna be way towards the bottom of that scale. So you can prove things with statistics, you can prove things with the data that you presented, but you select what you want to present, and you did that there.
The
Yeah,
data that I
Kevin.
presented to you, Commissioner Russo, if you look at the sheets that I handed all of you, you have the
I did
entire
look at the
line.
sheet.
If you see the PPP, which is population, and BBB, which is budget, and a numeric indicator next to that, which indicated how many constables that county employed. It was in the sheet. It was in the sheet, the data was presented to
And
you.
I'm
It
saying when
wasn't
you put the
cherry-picked.
salary was when you put in your name to run again for this position. Last December when we filed.
And in August of 2022, this commissioner's court agreed with me, gave me half of what I asked for with the understanding that it would readdress it in the 2023 year. The 2023 year is my fault. I was doing my job and taking care of my wife, and that was it. I did not have the time to compile the data. This year, I have time to compile the data. But if you look at the August 8th, 2022 Commissioners Court meeting between hour marker 3 minutes or 3 hours and 7 minutes and 3 hours, 14 minutes, you will see what Commissioner Russo, Commissioner Castellani, and Commissioner Cheney said during that period. In your own words, you agreed with Commissioner Castellani that it needed to be addressed next year to cover the rest of it, or to cover the redress, to reconsider it.
Reconsidering something is not a guarantee.
Correct, which is why we have a salary grievance committee.
Right, and ours will be corrected to match the legislative code.
Commissioner Duque?
I just wanted to say whether we like the results or not, I know you do.
That's the way it is.
But yeah, I mean, they followed the procedure that was written out and approved. And, we should accept it, and if we do need to make corrections, we can. I understand you
Yeah.
having questions too about about that, but pretty much everybody.
Well, if there's an AG opinion, that's fine with me. I don't think anybody, I don't know how the AG read it and interpreted that. And just like the clerk said, it's so vague that it's ridiculous how vague it is about how it operates and things like that. But it's an entertaining video if you like to watch it. It's online.
I'd like to add one more thing. Over the years, things have changed with the constable's offices. You've now added 12 more courts to us with trying to keep people out of the jail on magistration. That's 12 more times that my judge has got to hear that I've got to be there in that court. Also, the value has went from $10,000 to $20,000, what can be done in a JP court, but civil wise. That opened up a whole big thing of more people doing suits and everything. That probably tripled, if not quadrupled, our stuff. So our workload has increased quite a bit in the last 5, 6 years. In the last 10 years, it's probably went 50 to 100% more. So it's not really fair to say what you ran for. It's like things grow. The county's grown, the business has grown, the state is what the state's put on us has grown. The education that we have now go get, do a lot more of and everything. There's different things that over the years has come up that was not done years ago. When I first ran for the job, it was $1 a year. That was 39 years ago, 39 years ago. But today you couldn't do it for $1 a year. No way.
No, but you did run again for this office.
Mhm.
Right?
But back then, didn't you have a second job?
You had to have one there back then.
And
we didn't have much
And the
to
other
do.
constable had a security company.
And we didn't have much to do back
There was
then.
a reason that he wanted to be a constable.
You know, JP court was probably 5 times a year total for 4 precincts.
Well, it was in somebody's kitchen back then.
Hey, Jackie,
Yes.
so whenever, like, was it last week or a couple weeks ago, when you publish elected official salaries? Yeah, I remember you told me before that once that's published, we can't go higher. Is that,
That's the reason that we're going to have to republish, because we will be able to, we'll have to change it.
okay,
With us going higher, you just can't go higher if we don't republish. But if we do a second publication that's actually putting the notice out, then you can go higher.
okay,
We just can't go higher if we don't republish.
And this is our last week to do it this week. Or to meet all of our date requirements.
okay. All right, well, any other questions? Yeah,
To adjourn.
statement? Okay, motion to adjourn, heard, do I have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Castleline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
I
Commissioner Dupnick,
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye, thank you.